Entering Kenmore. Doors will open on the left.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 36 of Entering Kenmore. I am David Azer alongside Zach Coe. Zach, the season is over, unfortunately. After the wild card round, there's been a ton of fallout since then, and I know we have a lot of thoughts on the series as a whole. Comes down to you win game one and you couldn't win any of the next two, and while that's unfortunate, I can't say I'm necessarily surprised. So how are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. I think we talked, we pretty much did an entire therapy podcast after game two.
It was
just
fun.
Sitting in the Discord, which shameless plug for the Discord. If you're watching on YouTube or or listening on your podcast, check the description for the Discord link, where that's going to be one of our off-season initiatives to get some of that stuff off and running. So jump in there. Right now it's just us two. But we have a lot of fun in there.
Yeah.
So you can too. So check out the Discord. YouTube, all of that stuff. But yeah, I mean, game two is the one that you circle as the one that you should have had. You were never really competitive in game three. Obviously, it was tight for a while, but Cam Schlittler just shoved it up your ass, which I have a little bit of a hot take on Cam Schlittler's performance, but we'll get to that when we get to that game. But yeah, ultimately it was the same things that plagued the Red Sox for the duration of the regular season that came to be their undoing. Poor defense, lack of thump, uncompetitive at-bats, and strikeouts. Like, those were, when the Red Sox weren't going well, those are the things that were the cause of that, and that was their undoing in game three. So, it's unfortunate. I know you said you're not necessarily surprised, but we both had the Red Sox sweeping this series, and honestly, they should have. We're going to get into game two, but, I mean, talk about shooting yourself in the foot over and over and over again. Like, that's exactly what happened in game two. There never should have been a game three because you had opportunity after opportunity in game two and you just pissed it away.
Dude, Breece Hall said last week after the Jets dropped to 0-4, it was like, sometimes other teams shoot themselves in the foot and then we come right back and shoot ourselves in the head. And that's what it felt like in game 2 and 3, because you were riding high. I mean, we'll unpack game by game here, but you're riding high after the momentum of game 1 and you just come out and lay an egg in game 2 and 3. It's just, when the Red Sox were going good and when they clinched a playoff spot, those problems weren't really rearing their ugly heads. And the second you get into the playoffs, it's like, oh yeah, we're not really a fundamentally sound team. Oh yeah, we have some pitching depth problems. And obviously it was even worse since Giolito was out. And all of those problems came back and bit you in the ass, especially the defense, man. And I know we'll get into that more later, but we can start with game 1. And it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was really...
Game 1 was a blast.
You hit the ground running. I mean, you had your ace on the mound. This is exactly what Garrett Crochet was brought in to do. And, I mean, he absolutely dominated. Even better than I could have expected.
Dude, he is such a fucking dog. Like,
yeah.
I know in the last episode I kind of was like, oh, well... To me, like, oh, you make the playoffs, it's good for the youth, it's good for the development, but Marcelo's not there, Campbell's not there, Roman's not there. But to me, this entire playoff experience was worth it because you got to go out there and Garrett Crochet, I know we gave the numbers on the last episode, he was good in 3 innings of work for the White Sox in relief, but he goes into Yankee Stadium and drops his fucking nuts on the table. And is like, I'm a dog, this is what you pay me for. Like, to me, this Garrett Crochet performance was way more impressive than anything Schlittler did. To go into a hostile Yankee Stadium and face that lineup and absolutely dominate it for, 7 2/3?
Yeah,
like,
it was insane.
He is just an absolute beast. He is a monster. 117 pitches, punches out, I think it was Austin Wells on the last one.
And he was pissing and moaning.
100. You're 117 pitches, and it's 100. I said this when I was sitting there in the studio. I was like, this is like one of the College World Series games where managers just leave those guys out there to die. Like, you have guys throwing 120, 130 pitches. And Cora said it post-game, but this is why 85 pitches against the Mets. Skipping a start here and there so that you can come into Yankee Stadium and do something like that. And yeah, it's annoying in the moment, but when you are able to call back to those moments throughout the season where you're annoyed, but then be like, oh, by the way, he's got 117 pitches, 12 punchies, and 7 2/3 scoreless innings in game 1 of the playoffs in Yankee Stadium. You're like, all right, I see the vision. And Like, hand up, I was pissed off about that Mets series when it happened because he had the opportunity to go for a sweep and you pull Crochet early, and that's fine. I mean, obviously we have the benefit of hindsight now, but like for all these people that bitch about Cora throughout the season, like, to me this was a game where Alex Cora completely managed circles around Aaron Boone, which I don't think you can say for the next two games.
And on a larger scale, I think the front office deserves a lot of criticism for how they've handled a lot of this season, but handling Garrett Crochet is not one of those. I mean, he flew past his innings limit like 3/4 of the way through the season, and you were like, okay, there might be a drop off here, and maybe there was for a little while, but I mean, it all comes down to how you perform in the playoffs, and he absolutely showed that he is the ace of this team moving forward. And could we get him a little bit of help in the offseason? I would like that very much. That would be sick.
Yeah.
But at least you have your ace.
Exactly, and like the Garrett Crochet trade was risky for a lot of reasons, and I saw a lot of people outing themselves on Twitter as like, holy shit, this was like one of my all-time worst takes. Like, I cannot believe, I was like, I don't think we should spend the prospect capital to get a guy who's never pitched a full season. Well, he's pitched a full season, he blew past his innings limit, he asserted himself as one of the best pitchers in baseball, and really that last box that you needed to check was prove that you can perform in the playoffs, and he passed that test with flying colors. So like I said, I think that makes this entire trip worth it to the playoffs. Like, you have a guy that can go out in the playoffs. I mean, like, how many more hostile environments are there in baseball in the playoffs than going into Yankee Stadium, especially as a member of the Red Sox? Like, I have faith in Garrett Crochet to go out there and shove in the playoffs literally anywhere else that he'll go in baseball, because he was able to go out there and check that box off in Yankee Stadium.
Completely agree. And the future is very bright for Garrett Crochet and this young core as a whole. And I know you mentioned not having Anthony and Meyer and Campbell in there does hurt. But I think a lot of these guys who will be here for the long haul can benefit from even a short-term playoff run here. And the other interesting thing about game one was you only used two pitchers. You took Garrett Crochet out 7 2/3, and then you bring in Aroldis Chapman for an inning and a third. And he was a little bit shaky. He got the last out of the 8th inning, and then obviously he had bases loaded, 0 outs in bottom 9 there, and then he locked in. I think he just had to sit up in his chair a bit. He had to sweat a little bit, and then we're home free. So that was cool too. I mean, it was really interesting that it got that nerve-wracking, our first taste of playoff baseball in 4 years.
Yeah.
And I was anxious, but it was awesome to have that feeling again where like this matters a lot. And this is your best bullpen guy on the mound. How will he respond? Bases loaded, and he shoved.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was only one time in the regular season he was asked to get more than 3 outs. So not uncharted territories for him in his career, obviously, because we know how that 2016 run with the Cubs went. I mean, obviously, Joe Madden ran him into the ground, and it almost cost them the series. But like, it's just something that you had to deal with, and we'll get into game 2, but I mean, it's something that we're used to. Like, that 2018 run, Craig Kimbrell was a heart attack every time he was on the mound.
He was horrible.
Like, if not for Andrew Benintendi, who knows how that Houston series ends in the ALCS. So yeah, things got sweaty, but I don't know if you heard the story that Cora said, which I kind of have a little bit of a Zach Spearsy theory on this. He said that the front office was in the bullpen checking something out, and they called down, and Crochet happened to be there, and he was like, yeah, you're only going to use that once tomorrow, because
yes,
going right from me to Chapman, which is so baller the day before the wild card, to be like, yeah, it's me right to Chappie, and then to drop your nuts on the table and have that actually be the case. But my Zach Spearsy theory is that I wonder if they were checking to see if there was any sort of funny business going on with the Yankees trying to pick up some signs or anything.
Interesting. I mean, it didn't really matter. You couldn't hit your way out of a wet paper bag this whole series.
Right.
So it's like,
Ultimately, it doesn't matter, but
right.
I just thought that was interesting. Like, and it could just be the alarms going off in my head. Like, oh, I wonder why they were out there. But like, it's just, That's my official comment on that. The front office was out in the bullpen checking something out.
Interesting indeed. The other interesting thing was taking out Max Fried after 6 1/3, and obviously that bit you in the ass right from the jump. I mean, Luke Weaver comes in, he didn't even get an out, and he allowed 2 earned, so kind of
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, it was weird because like I think you could make the argument either way. Like
Yeah,
sure he could have gone longer, but what was he at for a pitch count? It was pretty high, wasn't it?
must have been, yeah, 102, so it's like you push Crochet that extra 15,
Yeah.
and he gets
Yeah,
some more outs, but
yeah,
yeah.
sure you obviously could have, but like I don't think it was wildly insane of a hook.
No.
Like I mean, obviously Freed was dominating. 6 1/3, shot 4 hits, 6 strikeouts, 3 walks. But yeah, I don't know. Like at a certain point, you have to rely on your bullpen. Like I know it was fun to make fun of the super pen. Nobody has a better bullpen than the Yankees. Like, and obviously they come in and just completely piss themselves. And like to me, I would have left Freed in. Like, I mean, that's your dog, that's your horse. Like he was carving you up. Like, if I was Boone, I would have kept him in. But I think, like I said, this is the game where Cora kind of managed circles around Aaron Boone.
And it was all downhill from there. Like
Yeah,
the,
like
I mean, even still in game one, you put up 3 runs, so it's like, yeah, you win the game, but there's no offensive explosion. And I get it's Max Fried, but I mean, we saw him last night. He got blown up by the Blue Jays, so it's certainly capable of happening. It's just,
mhm.
you
Well,
know,
that's kind of been that's been the story of his playoff career. It's
right?
either really good or really bad. He was really good against you, and he was really bad against the Yankees
Yeah, and
or against the Blue Jays. Sorry.
oh, you're good. Yeah, but overall, I mean, game one was really fun. It's cool to get a win in your first taste of playoff baseball, like I said, in like 4 years. But then it was all downhill. So we can get into
Yeah.
game
Oh,
two.
just a
Oh,
couple. One more thought on
oh,
just
my
to
fault.
kind of no, you're good. Just to elaborate on the core, to go right to Chapman after Crochet to keep Ben Rice on the bench, like
Oh, yeah.
just such an incredible move from Cora. Like I know we kind of fucking tongue bathed Cora a whole lot in the series preview episode, being like, "This is your advantage." Like Aaron Boone is a fucking moron, and you have the best manager in baseball. And honestly, like as we get into some of these other games, like I don't think that advantage was as much as we were hoping for. Like I don't want to say that Cora got outmanaged in the series, but like I said, like we were talking like Aaron Boone was like had like a blindfold on while he was managing the game and had never done it before. And again, like Alex Cora was one of the greatest managers of all time. We just didn't see it there. But yeah, to go right to Chapman to keep Rice on the bench is such a good move. And like obviously they were really scared of Ben Rice in this series for whatever reason. Like they did not want him facing righties. And obviously as we see in game 2 for good reason. But yeah, to go to Chapman right after keeping Rice and Ryan McMahon on the bench, not that I think Ryan McMahon is some super slugger hitter, but to go lefty lefty there I think was a great move. And then Massa, you called it on the
Shout
post.
him out.
Obviously, you said what if he hits a bomb in Yankee Stadium, but he didn't hit a bomb, but he hits a big single, scoring 2 runs to give the team a lead. And yeah, shout out. Hopefully that boosts his trade value in the offseason because I have seen enough of Masataka Yoshida despite having a really good playoff run. But yeah, shout out Cora, shout out Massa. Game 1 was a lot of fun, and then it was all downhill from there.
If that is the lasting memory I have of Masataka Yoshida as a Boston Red Sox, I am totally happy with that. I think you need more production from there, and we'll get into it later. But on the point about Cora and how we thought he was a big asset coming into this series, I don't really feel like you made Boone work for it, really, in game 2 and 3. And that was the problem. I think there was a good possibility, a good chance that he could have messed up if you allowed him to, but you kind of just put these 2 wins on a silver platter for them. I really feel like this was a winnable series, and you kind of just blew it.
And I think that mostly can be said for game 2. Like, I mean,
Right.
game 3, you were just like, we'll get into game 3, but I think game 3 in a winner go home game was the most pathetic performance I've seen besides the 2019 game 7 of the Cup for the Bruins.
Yep.
Like, I mean, obviously, given the stakes of the Cup, being at home, being a much better team than the Blues. I think that one stands above them all pretty much. But like this one, in terms of pathetic and lifelessness, is right up there. Like it was not good. But yeah, game two, like that's the thing. Like we shouldn't have even been talking about a game three because of
Right.
how winnable. Like, the Yankees were begging you. They had their flights to Cancun booked. They were ready to go. They were like, please, we want to go to Cancun. Aaron Judge was begging to get to the Amalfi Coast. Like, he could not have wanted to go on vacation any harder. And the Red Sox were like, no, buddy, we have our tickets booked for tomorrow night.
Oh
And
my God.
yeah, I mean, I guess we can start at Bayo. 28 pitches, gets pulled, uber aggressive move from Cora. Where do you stand on that one?
Hated it, to be honest. I think it might be Cora's worst move of the playoffs in his time here. Like, I understand that Bayo didn't have it. And I didn't expect him to go out there and give us 6 innings given how the first 2 1/3 went. But you still have to stretch him out a bit longer. Like, I don't understand going for broke in game 2 when you have game 3 tomorrow. And I get you want to solidify the win, you want to get the sweep, and it is what it is. But hindsight's 2020. It didn't work out. I didn't like going to the bullpen that early because if you do have to play a game 3, then you don't really have anybody at full strength. And that's what we ultimately saw. It didn't really matter because you couldn't score against Cam Schlittler, but that's where I'm at. Yeah, I hated the move, and it blew up in your face. And we'll get to another guy later who I am very mad about too.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously in the moment I was like, huh? Like what are we doing here? And I like the aggressiveness to be like, we're going for the throat. Like we're going to win this game. Like, but my issue with it came later in the game when Garrett Whitlock had his 8th inning implosion.
Eighth inning implosion.
Yeah, it was the 8th because then that leads me to where I have the problem with it. So obviously Garrett Whitlock comes in. He hadn't been a 2-inning guy for the majority of the second half, and he looked really good. I mean, he was dominant in the first inning. Punches out Judge, looking, comes back out for the second inning, gets 2 quick outs, and then things kind of started to unravel from there. And the ESPN cameras at 0-0 at the time, obviously, they keep panning out to Chapman, which somebody asked Cora in the postgame, like, how come Chapman was up in the 7th and 8th, and then you didn't go to him? In the 7th inning, he was just doing the towel thing where he throws with the towel. So, like, obviously that wasn't warming up, but in the 8th, he was warming up, and Cora was like, yeah, if it was nothing in the 9th, we were going to go to him. To me, after Whitlock walks Jazz Chisholm, and you have Austin Wells coming up to potentially take the lead. Obviously, he hits that double down the line. Whitlock was showing obvious signs of tiring in that inning, especially in that walk to Jazz. Like, to me, if you know that you're going to Chapman in the 9th inning, if it remains tied, then there's no reason that you shouldn't be going to him there for Wells. And I understand the argument, oh, he pitched last night, you don't want to run him into the ground if there's, like, for the rest of the playoffs. As we learned, there is no rest of the playoffs anymore. Like, if you're going to pull Brian Bayo at 28 pitches, be uber aggressive with your bullpen, and go for the throat, then why stop? Like, why are we being uber aggressive for the first 7 2/3 of this game, pitching wise, and then all of a sudden pussyfooting around using your closer? Like, oh, you don't want to run him into the ground. What if you do end up losing the game? Then you need him in a game 3. Sure, we can play the what-if game until the cows come home, but what if you win that game, sweep the Yankees, then your bullpen has 3 whole days to get rested for the next one? Like, I just don't understand the logic behind that. Like, if you're going for the throat, if you're going to be uber aggressive, then be that uber aggressive manager and win the game.
Yeah, my biggest problem was with the Whitlock usage. Like you said, he hasn't been a 2 innings guy for a majority of the season, and you're going to ask him to give you more than that on the biggest stage. I understand that, and I understand you're supposed to stretch these guys out when it counts the most, but it was pretty obvious he didn't have it when he walked Chisholm.
Yeah.
And at that point, you have to take him out. Like, this whole blown save or whatever you want to call it, I guess it wasn't a save, but the loss, I don't put on Whitlock at all.
No.
Because, like, we saw early in the season, he wasn't really great at the multi-innings thing anymore. And then you switched him into a one-inning guy, and he was dominant at the second half of the season. And I understand that you need to get more out of these guys in the playoffs, but even still, like, I just don't understand fucking with him in general, and also just not taking him out when he's clearly gassed at that point. Like, he was gassed, visibly really tired, you could tell.
Yeah,
And
I mean, the location was gone, and
right.
like to me, like getting an inning and 2/3 out of him is pushing him
It's
enough.
house
Like,
money.
that is stretching him out. Like that
Mhm.
is doing enough. Like I'm just looking at it now. The last time he completed 2 innings was August 11th against
Right.
the Astros. After that, it's a handful of inning and a third, inning and 2/3 here and there. But like he was very clearly a 1 inning guy for the majority of the season, honestly.
Right. And that's because he struggled in the multi-inning role early in the season. And the whole thing was like, oh, well, he's back to 2021 Whitlock. We'll use him for multiple innings, and then he's on the shelf for 2-3 days. So I liked them putting him in one inning just because you could use him more often. And,
Yeah.
obviously, I understand the whole playoff usage and everything, but it blew up in your face. And I'm a ride or die for Garrett Whitlock, and this was not his fault.
Yeah, I want to go on the record saying that the second that he got out of that 7th inning, you texted me and were like, they better not put him back out there. Like, you were immediately out on him going back out there. And then he went back out there and obviously looks good for those first two batters, punches out Judge, looking, and then it all kind of went to shit from there.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably my favorite guy on the team, and I was doing cartwheels when he got out of that 7th, and then I saw no one else was warming up, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be bad.
Yeah, then you're like, oh. Yeah, credit to you. You were all over that one. That was not the only brain dead decision
No.
play or anything. So where do we?
We jumped ahead a bit here. Yeah, I think.
Well, it tied in with the Bayo conversation with being uber aggressive and then all of a sudden deciding not to be. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, that is just. I don't know. Like I said, it comes back to bite you because you end up in a winner go home game 3 game and you use your closer in a game where you're down by 4. They could have trotted me or you out there in that bottom of the 8th inning and it wouldn't have mattered because the offense wasn't scoring 4 runs. The offense didn't score 1 run. They barely had 1 competitive at bat in that entire game.
I know, and I think we can go to Duran next because I'm pretty sure this was bottom 5. They gave Judge a single for it, and I mean, if you were watching the game, it was clearly an error. I think the ball touched his glove, right?
Yeah, it hit him in the glove.
Yeah,
and his explanation was such bullshit after. He owned it. I don't know what he's gonna do other than own it. Everyone's like, oh, credit to Duran for owning it, but he was like. I thought it was hit harder than it was, and then I ran too fast, and then I was too close to it, so then I had to try to adjust. And okay, buddy, you didn't need to slide. I don't understand where the slide came in. It was
no.
For all intent and purposes, it was a routine fly ball that should have been caught. And then for the big question heading into Game 2, after some pretty pathetic at bats against Max Fried for Duran was, is he going to be in the lineup? Because he is awful against lefties. Jarren Duran is bad against lefties. For their complete unwillingness to play guys like Wilyer Abreu and Tristan Casas against lefties because the splits are bad, Duran's are just as bad. And for whatever reason, that Cora tells his kids and he's when he's talking to the young guys, this is the guy you want to model your game after. Stop doing that. This is not the guy you want to model your game after. Especially when we get into Game 3 and he's fucking dogging it to that Stanton fly ball and then lollipops the throw in. Stanton fucking celebrating with the Yankees dugout standing on the first baseline like he just hit a home run and he makes it to second base. Giancarlo Stanton? And that's all effort based. And to get back to the lefty splits, this year against lefties, in 209 plate appearances, 194 ABs, Jarren Duran's hitting 211 with a 600 OPS, a 70 OPS plus. This is the guy that we're going to have in there. And then, and Cora has the balls, has the audacity to be he's one of the best defensive left fielders in baseball. What fucking games were you watching, dude, that Jarren Duran is one of the best defensive left fielders in baseball? He looked lost out there for the large majority of the season.
Oh, absolutely. And I know he played a lot of center field last year, and even Rafael was here too. So I don't know. Was he playing
Well, they
right?
had Rafaela playing short when Story was down.
Oh, right, right. So yeah, he was playing a majority center field last year, and he looked pretty good. But the larger sample sizes, he's just not good at defense in the outfield, no matter what. Like we've seen him when he was coming up, and obviously the Raimel Tapia inside the park. Was it a grand slam?
Yeah,
I
Grand
don't
Slam.
remember. I
Grand
was
Slam.
at that Sydney Sweeney game. Yeah, that was horrible.
I forgot that was the Sydney Sweeney game.
Oh yeah, it was awful. But
Yeah.
I mean, this is nothing new with Duran. I know he figured it out for a little while,
Well,
but
last year he was one of the best defensive center fielders in the sport. Like he was
right.
actually a Gold Glove caliber defensive center fielder, or well, Gold Glove caliber defensive. Yeah, that was redundant. Nice work, idiot. But like, and obviously he's talked about the reads being different off the bat. It's not coming right at you and whatnot. He was a -5 outs above average in left field this year.
Yikes.
That is not one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball.
Not
Or left
close.
fielders like that. Like, give me a break. He's up there with Christopher Morel, Gavin Sheets, Alex Verdugo, Randy Arozarena, Gavin Lux. Like, there are infielders on this list that are that are in the mix with him. Like, Gavin Sheets is a first baseman.
Yeah, Gavin Lux is a second baseman.
Yeah, Urickson Profar, it was a -6. Like, they're always one of the best defensive center fielder or left fielders. I don't know why I keep saying left center field, but he's one of the best defensive left fielders. Christopher Morel, who's a third baseman, is there. Like, come on. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, it's fine to like give your guy a confidence boost, but don't lie to me. Like,
I mean, they do that pretty often.
yeah, he just straight up lied, and we'll get to some of his comments in the end of season presser today. But he said that they were one of the best defensive teams in baseball. Like, come on, man, you don't have more errors than the fucking Colorado Rockies as one of the best defensive teams in baseball. Like, give me a break. Like, but yeah, if you can't tell, I've had enough of Jarren Duran. I never want to see him in a Red Sox uniform again. That was true before the season. That was true at the trade deadline, and that is true now here at the end of the season. Jarren Duran. Oh, but he runs fast and he signs autographs after the games. Cool. That's fantastic. I'm sure they'll love that in Minnesota or San Diego or fucking in the Yokohama Bay Stars, wherever they want to fucking send him to. The NC Dinos. No, I don't even want him on my Dinos. He can go to the Kia Tigers for all I care. But I've seen enough of Jarren Duran. In this series, just everything that is wrong with Jarren Duran reared its ugly head. And I think it's very poetic that the two plays that'll bookend his Red Sox career, the first one being that inside the park grand slam from Raimel Tapia, and then him dogging it to that Stanton ball in left field. That is Jarren Duran's Red Sox career. There was exactly one high point in the middle with him winning the All-Star Game MVP, having a peak season last year. But this is who Jarren Duran is. He is, talk about the lights were brighter than expected. Jarren Duran.
Oh man, I don't really have much to add, to be honest. I just think on both sides of the ball, it found him in key moments, and he didn't come through in any of them. And
yeah, he was awful.
it's all I need to see. Like I am big on Jarren Duran and his mental health advocacy, but that's kind of where it ends. If you don't play well on the baseball field, I can't be like, yeah, I love this guy because he supports mental health and is looking out for people in that sense. Like, I can't get over the woes in the field anymore. Like it's just been really bad, and honestly, I don't expect him to be on the team in spring training.
No, I don't either. And it's one of those things where we heard Bradfo say numerous times on Jones and Keefe, or really anywhere that would listen, is that there would be a revolt in the locker room if they traded a guy like Jarren Duran. And my point that entire time was like, yeah, sure, but if like Dylan Cease is coming back, which I'm on the record as saying I would not have done Ethan Salas and Dylan Cease for Jarren Duran, I stand by that. Knowing what we know now, I still would not have done that trade. But I think there was a trade out there for him that could have been done. Like, before they traded Leo DeVries for Mason Miller, they called on Jarren Duran one more time. Like,
I bet.
To me, Lou said it, any number of people said it, like, oh, Leo DeVries is 18 years old. If you trade Jarren Duran for an 18-year-old that's nowhere close to the big leagues, people are going to be pissed. Not people that know ball. Like, If you know
True.
ball, you know Leo DeVries. Like a top 5 prospect in the sport. For
Yep.
Jaron Duran, they traded him for a closer. Like
They used him for like 3 innings in the wild card
Yeah.
round.
Like you're
It's
telling me they
insane.
wouldn't have done if they wouldn't have done that, if that's something that they tried to do, fine. We don't know that. I just find it hard to believe they traded him for a closer and they weren't willing to do it for a guy that they've wanted for 2 years. But yeah, Jaron Duran in this series, 1 hit, 1 run, 091 batting average, 258 OPS, and you can small sample size. It's only 3 games. It's only 11 ABs. Okay,
I don't
fine.
care.
The lights were like clearly too bright for him. And to be honest with you, I think the lights are too bright for him being in Boston. Like, I'm not discounting the fact that he can go to a place like Minnesota or San Diego or a smaller market where the microscope isn't going to be on you. I mean, when we're talking about sports media markets, it's New York and it's Boston and then it's everywhere else. I mean, I lived in Chicago for however many years, and that's probably number 3, but even that's a distant third compared to the way that teams get covered here. Like, talk about being under a microscope. Like I think he'll thrive somewhere else where he's not under this kind of pressure to perform. And it like I said, like you said, like the mental health stuff is great. I think that is by far the best contribution he's made to baseball so far, is being open about that stuff. But like you said, at a certain point, it's just we have to perform on the field, and he's not. And I agree that people need to destigmatize mental health, especially among athletes. And we've heard so many different players speak out about the gambling and the player props and the threats that them and their families are getting, which obviously needs to stop. But like I said, at a certain point, it has to show up on the field. And when you're in a situation like the Red Sox are with this outfield logjam, to me, it's a really clear guy to be moved, and we'll get into it again later. But I've seen enough of Jaron Duran, and I hope he's not wearing this uniform come spring training.
Well, Zach, I've also seen enough of Kyle Hudson because he has been, this isn't his first time that he's fucked up. And I mean, it's been way too much. I should not be hearing about a third base coach at all. Like, I would probably know his name, but if he weren't making this many mistakes, I don't think the vast majority of people would even know who he is. And it has been far too many mistakes this year. And this one probably cost you the game.
Yeah, definitely. And I kind of have mixed opinions on this one, because part of me is like, okay, like, I don't know if you saw Nate Eaton's post-game comments, but he completely blamed Kyle Hudson.
Very funny.
It was behind me. He told me to stop. I stopped. And then by the time he told me to go, it was too late. Like, I wasn't going to be able to restart. But to me, like, 2 outs, you should be going. You should be
moving.
Like,
yeah,
a ground ball, like, you should be going anyways. But like, also, like, Hudson did a terrible job reading the ball. And like, if you're Nate Eaton, like, this is going to be one of my themes of the offseason. Like, there should not be 2 different lineups for who's on the mound. Like, and Cora said it today, like, oh, well, if you look at the greatest team in Red Sox history, the 2018 team, we platooned at first base, second base, and third base. Sure. With Steve Pearce, who would go on to win the World Series MVP. Ian Kinsler platooned with who?
Brock Holt?
Yeah, a little bit of Brock Holt, and then I feel like they mixed Nunez in there a little bit too.
Probably.
And then, obviously, Nunez and Devers platooned at third base. This was a rookie, for all intent and purposes, Rafael Devers, in 2018. It was his second year in the big leagues, so obviously we know that they do things there. It wasn't a completely different lineup when there was a lefty on the mound. It wasn't. It still had Mookie Betts in it. It still had Andrew Benintendi in it. It still had JD Martinez in it. It still had Jackie Bradley Jr. The core of your lineup was the same when there was a lefty on the mound. The core of your lineup was nowhere close to the same in this lineup when there was a lefty on the mound. You get one lefty killer next year. Take your pick. I don't care which one it is, just pick one. I don't need Nate Eaton, Rob Refsnyder, Romy Gonzalez, Nick Sogard, this guy, that guy. We don't need to have 7 different players in the lineup because there's a lefty on the mound. That just goes to show that your lineup isn't that good, which we have seen now. Like, the lineup wasn't that good. Like, that's why they lost, because the lineup wasn't that good. So, yeah, to me, like, I think it's tough because it's a really difficult play to read. Like, I mean, obviously you're not expecting Jazz to get to it to make the stop, and then obviously he botches the throw and it gets far enough by. But like, to me, like, Nate Eaton is a guy that like talk about like KYP, know your personnel. Nate Eaton, we did it on the last episode. was what, 97th percentile sprint speed? It's
Something
loading
like
right now
that.
for me. Yeah, 98th percentile sprint speed. Nate Eaton. This is a guy that has to score. Like, you can't go stop, stop, stop with a guy that's 98th percentile sprint speed. And I understand it's a double-edged sword. If Hudson sends him and he gets thrown out and you lose the game anyways, it's like, oh, how could he send him on that? And it's like, sure. But also, in a game like this where you're going for the throat, I'm never going to criticize you for being too aggressive in a playoff game, especially with this lineup.
In that spot, you had to try it. Like, and the same can be said for the last time he didn't send Nate Eaton. I don't remember who they were playing. It might have been one of the Orioles games in like that 2-game series that was a fake sweep.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But yeah, regardless, this has happened far too many times for a third base coach, and ultimately, I don't think he's with the team next year. I mean, you have players coming out and being like, yeah, this was his fault. You know, obviously it wasn't that blunt, but
Yeah.
alluding to that, and I think they have to be tired of it at this point because I know it's probably a hard job, but it can't be that hard, dude. Like, watch the ball, know who's running, send them home or don't. Like, have some conviction. Don't be pussyfooting around it. Like, what are we doing, man?
Well, that's the thing. Like, have conviction in it. Like, don't go. Stop.
Yeah,
Go.
right.
Like, just have conviction one way or the other. And it feels like too many times this year, you'll have panned to Kyle Hudson and he's throwing up breaks, and then he's like, "Oh shit, go!" Like,
Yeah.
just have conviction in whichever way you're going. Like in a game where you're going to be uber aggressive with your pitching, with all of it. I lean being aggressive again, especially with where the lineup was at, where you really couldn't hit your way out of a wet paper bag through 2.5 games at this point. So like, to me, I think you have to be aggressive, but part of the blame I think does fall on Eden too.
Yeah, I agree. What else did we have from game 2? Oh yeah.
The worst bunt attempt of all time.
That was horrible. Rafael, what inning was this?
I'm looking
Might have
for
been
it
the
right now. I
6th.
just pulled it up. Yeah, I think top 7.
Top 7. Yeah.
Top 7. Eaton walks. Duran hit by pitch. Fernando Cruz, who won the Clown of the Week award, replaces Carlos Rodon. Immediately, first and second, nobody out. They have Cedon Rafaela come up, and he's got the Cora wouldn't say whether or not it was the bunt was on or if he was just doing that by himself. Cedon Rafaela, in a moment like that, I can't imagine was putting the bunt sign on for himself. So
No
I have
chance.
to assume that came from the dugout. Splitter down and away in the other batter's box, fouls, bunts it off, and then the next one he makes contact and just pops it up and just completely lets him off the hook. Like, if you're gonna put the bunt on, the guy has to get it down. Like, talk about the fundamentals. Like, this, you said it in the open. This was not a fundamentally sound baseball team, which
Not at all.
is something that, like we said, it has come back to bite them in the ass whenever things aren't going well for them. And this is a microcosm. These last 2 games really were a microcosm of everything that was flawed with the 2025 Boston Red Sox. Because to have the bunt on is fine. I don't even hate having the bunt on with the way that the offense was producing, but to not get the bunt down, like, that's on Rafaela. And that's another guy, like, we'll get into it in the offseason. To me, like, the only guy, I wouldn't even be that upset if the only guy in your outfield that you didn't shop this offseason was Roman Anthony.
It's fair. It's fair. I mean, there's a lot of things you have to fix here. Oh, takes?
Got any takes? What do you got? Thoughts on Cedon Rafaela? No?
Nothing. Oh,
No
jeez.
takes. No takes on Cedon Rafaela. Huh.
Oh man, but yeah, like the thing that pisses me off most about this is I'm scrolling back in the game log here. I don't know if you're looking at the same thing I am, but on MLB Game Day when Trevor Story flew out to center field to end the game. End the inning. Yeah, look at this clickbait thumbnail. What an escape with Fernando Cruz looking like Hulk up there. Like, it could. This was the most embarrassing thing I think I've ever seen. And I didn't like Josh Naylor when he did the whole like rock the baby thing against Garrett Cole. But this is a different level. Dude, what the hell are we doing? If Trevor Story hit that ball anywhere other than center field, it was a tank. He was
I
an
stood
absolute
up.
tank.
I'm sitting in the booth and I saw that ball off the bat and I launched up.
Yeah.
I thought he got it. And dude, and Cruz did too. The way he reacted off the bat, he like turned around and like jumped and looked at it like he thought, and then he turned into, like you said, the fucking Hulk. He's pounding his chest, he's stomping off the mound. Dude, you got out of a jam of your own creating. Like I know Rodon got the first two batters on.
Uh-huh.
But like you got gifted an out from Cedon Rafaela, and then you got Nick Sogard to fly out to left field. And I like Nick Sogard. I think there's a spot on this team for Nick Sogard. Not in the lineup in Game 2 of the playoffs.
I have
think
Nick
there's a
Sogard
spot
thoughts.
for
Yeah.
Nick Sogard on this team. But like, yeah, for the you, and then to give up like you said, an absolute fucking rocket to center field.
Oh, it was a tank.
Yeah, 393 feet. And then to be pounding your chest and fucking stomping off the mounds, like, give me a, like, and I am all for, like, I loved the Rock the Baby celebration. I'm all for guys showing their personality. And even if he, like, I understand being pumped up in the moment. And that Trevor Story flyout was the furthest hit ball of the day in that game.
That's insane.
I'm all for that. But what he did was so over the top. Like, you're Fernando Cruz, and you came in the 7th inning and to get out of a jam, and this ball was a homer in 0 out of 30 parks, according to Baseball Savant. But I mean, it probably hits the wall in some. It's any number of things. Like, if you strike a guy out, I'm all for doing something like that.
Absolutely.
You got some BABIP pluck. It was a 660 expected batting average. Like, you got BABIP pluck. And that's kind of one of the themes of this entire series. Like, you didn't get any luck on your batted balls in this game, and in Game 3, in that 4th inning against Connolly early, it felt like the Yankees got all of the BABIP pluck. Like, sometimes that's just the way she blows, and I don't want to excuse it by just simply saying they didn't get any batted ball luck, because that wasn't the case. And if that's what you're getting from this entire episode from me, I beg you to go back and re-listen, because I've ripped like 7 different people to shreds so far. But it's unfortunate. Yeah, and to me, like, that's where you lose the series, between Eaton not getting sent, Rafaela bunting at the worst 2 pitches of all time, and then not getting some BABIP luck on, again, the furthest hit ball of that game. Like, it's just, yeah, it sucks.
The best thing I can compare it to is like NFL cornerbacks celebrating when a quarterback just overthrows their receiver.
Yeah, like, strapped.
Anything you can think of, like Shooter McGavin level of like, what are we doing, bro?
Yeah. Dude, there was a play, not to get off on a tangent here, in the Michigan-Washington game.
Okay.
A corner did that. He actually made a pretty nice defensive play, but he turned around and he straps him up and he gets flagged for taunting. I've never seen that called taunting.
Where's
before.
the fun gone? But there's a difference between that and I'm like, okay, like, you kind of made a play. Fernando Cruz, buddy, like, please, never do that again. Yeah.
And then he got shelled against the Blue Jays in Game 1.
Oh, who could have guessed?
Yeah.
I actually haven't really been following that series very closely.
Usually when the Red Sox are eliminated, I take a little baseball break. And
that's where I'm at.
It just kind of happened where the beginning of the divisional series fell on a college football Saturday, and I didn't have it in me to watch baseball yet.
Nope.
I'm probably going to tune in a little bit tonight, because I'm wearing a Mariners t-shirt right now, but I've hitched my bandwagon to the Chicago Cubs, because if I don't get to be happy, then I would like my friends to be happy that are Cubs fans. My Ramble On co-host, George, diehard Cubs fan, so I hope he can be happy if I can't.
Fair. Yeah, I'll, honestly, I have stock in the Mariners. I've always liked them. I went to their ballpark, was treated like a king with my dad, so I am absolutely pulling for them. But there's no really good part for me to insert this, but I have to do my David is mad that he can't buy player A's jersey. And that is Nick Sogard, because honestly, I think he was the spark plug of the entire series, and you just didn't play him at all in Game 3. And like you said, I think he does have a spot on this team next year, because he can play a ton of different positions. Like, I was kind of calling for Rafaela to be that super utility guy. Could we see Nick Sogard in that role? Potentially. And he's also a switch hitter, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, he is.
Honestly, I don't see why he wasn't in your lineup all 3 days, but, what do I know?
Well, this I guess we can use this to transition into Game 3, but
Yeah.
just my closing thought on Game 2. This is where you lost the series. The accumulation of getting over aggressive with Bayo and then not being aggressive with Chapman, Eaton not getting sent, Duran dropping the fly ball that hit him in the glove, that inning, that 7th inning, all that like that. That's where you win and lose the series. Like that's where ultimately the series was lost by not sweeping. Like it is what it is. Like you can go back and look, but just to transition into Game 3, you mentioned it. Romy Gonzalez, never wrong, just early here on the Entering Kenmore podcast.
Yep.
Romy Gonzalez was fantastic all year. You ate crow for him performing well for a long portion of the season, and then it just seems like he became Romy Gonzalez again for the last however many weeks of the season. Two or three weeks. He went on that 12-game hitting streak, which let me see if I can't find where it ended. 12 or 13-game hitting streak. All right, so I believe if I'm looking at this correctly, it ended on September 16th, and then for the final 10 games of the season, he hit 250 with a 639 OPS, which is fine for Romy Gonzalez.
Yeah.
But that's not an everyday player. So he's a lefty killer, yes. And then you come into Game 3 where you have Cam Schlittler on the mound, and you mentioned it, Nick Sogard, who had been a spark plug for you in this series. So we had one of my group chats with my friends, we had the conversation of, what does this lineup look like tonight? And we pretty much nailed it, except for every single one of us had Nick Sogard at second base over Romy Gonzalez. And sure enough, they go with a different lineup there, and he was useless for you in Game 3. And I don't want to pin it all on Romy Gonzalez because there were 9 guys in the lineup that were useless in Game 3 for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Romy in this series, 9 ABs, he went 1 for 9, struck out 3 times, but then defensively, I think Nick Sogard's a better defensive second baseman than Romy Gonzalez. Does he make the play on that ground ball that squirts through and scores 2 runs? Does that save you a run? Again, it doesn't it doesn't super matter because you didn't score at all. But it's the little things that cost you baseball games. If that inning doesn't unravel, and it's still tight late, does Boone go to the bullpen earlier? It's all these little different things that accumulate. So like I said, it's not the reason why you lost, but I thought this lineup was so Cedon Rafaela hitting 5th, for example, in this game. This is a guy that you put the bunt on with first and second and no outs the night before, and then the next day he's in the 5 hole for you, and it's not just Cora's fault. It goes back to the failures of the front office. This lineup just wasn't a lineup that was built to compete in the playoffs, but it was especially pathetic in this Game 3.
Yeah, I actually, real quick, I had one more thing on Game 2 that reminded me of it. Connor Wong not catching Brian Bayo. Interesting move. I get they wanted the offense, but Narvaez gave you basically nothing this entire series as well.
Yeah, he walked a couple times, and little nugget from Breslow, Kennedy, and Cora today. He's gonna have his meniscus cleaned up.
I did see that. Yeah.
They said they got asked to follow up, is he going to be ready for spring training? And he said, let's not put any dates on it until we get in there and see what's wrong.
That's what he said to everything, bro.
Yeah. We'll get into it. I have thoughts on that. I feel like you were a little bit more aggravated of the outcome. You have one note and I have 15.
I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, we have a little bit more on Game 3 before that, but I am largely pissed off at what I heard today. Yeah. But yeah, this was just over before it started. It felt like, honestly, all the momentum was with the Yankees, and you wanted to avoid this Game 3 entirely because you didn't have Giolito. Connolly early, our nation turns its lonely eyes to you is where we were at. And he pitched well. Exactly. I'm not blaming this on him at all, but it's the defense. The defense that we kind of forgot about for a couple of weeks because it was we clinched the playoffs. We're good. It didn't really look bad in Game 1. And then Game 2 and 3, it was our defense is the worst in the league. I forgot.
Oh yeah, this defense is worse than the Colorado Rockies. That's right.
Right. And I always saw it in the NESN however many errors leads MLB, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's bad. And then I just somehow forgot about it, and
Yeah,
this
I
game
mean,
did him no favors.
the story of Connolly Early's night is that he went 3 2/3 and has a 7.36 ERA, but
Hmm.
his FIP is 0.68.
It's
Like, if that
insane.
doesn't tell you all you need to know about the pitching and the defense in this game three, I don't know what does. Cedon Rafaela, Red Sox stats, who has made his or her, I don't know who it is, triumphant return to Red Sox Twitter.
Thank goodness.
Tweeted the route. This platinum glove center fielder taking the scenic route to a fucking pop up in Game 3 in Winter Go Home. Falls in between Willier and Romy and Cedon, who dives for it and can't make the play. And we'll get into Willier too, who was like maybe the most useless player on earth after the injury.
Yep.
But the Romy ball that squirts through Trevor Story leave the game before the game leaves you in regards to playing shortstop. I've seen enough Trevor Story at shortstop. It was a -9, I want to say it was. Outs above average.
Jeez,
This year
that
at
bad?
shortstop. And yeah, which is like that shocked me when I saw it. But like I knew the metrics weren't great in terms of range. But like this is supposed to be his calling card. Yeah, -9 outs above average, and which is 3rd percentile and 36th percentile arm strength. Like that's not a shortstop anymore in baseball. And I'm not saying Marcelo Meyer makes that play that Story dives for and can't get to, but I'm not saying he doesn't make that play. Certainly not. But like to me, like as we get into the offseason, this will become abundantly clear. I mean, I think Trevor Story would be absolutely insane to opt out of this contract, and I think if he is going to opt out, then the Red Sox should opt in to that extra year. Like this is your contention window. You're going to be pushing over the luxury tax. So to get this guy who obviously like I don't think he's going to be my team MVP vote when we do the first annual Entering Kenmore awards. And if you have been listening since whatever date Roman Anthony got called up, you can probably guess where I'm going with my vote there. But like this is a guy that's invaluable to have in your lineup and in your clubhouse, but I'm just ready to see Marcelo Meyer or somebody else. If you don't think Marcelo Meyer is ready for a full season at shortstop, I mean, I think you can make that argument that he still should be platooned next year with what we've seen of him against lefties, not only in his small sample size in the big leagues, but also in his minor league career, plus the injury concern, obviously. But like, I just don't think Trevor Story's a shortstop anymore.
No, I don't think so either. And I think he'd be a pretty good second baseman, all
He
things
was a
considered.
fantastic second baseman. And
Right.
people forget that he played second base for an entire season with the Red Sox.
Hmm.
And I think that lends itself like he's probably a gold glove caliber second baseman because you don't have to, it's not as rangy, and it's the arm strength. Like it just, like we saw his arm fatigue incredibly throughout, he admitted as much throughout the season.
Hmm.
So yeah, I've seen enough of that, but like for the defense and Cora to come out and be like, well, we had one of the best defensive outfields in baseball. Like sure, except for when the lights were the brightest.
Ugh. And even when the lights weren't the brightest, it was not that good. Like, let's be
Again,
honest.
like he just lied to us about Jaron Duran.
Oh, absolutely. And like I can't get on Cora too much because it's
No.
like obviously you're the
Played
one,
the cards he was dealt.
right?
It comes back to one guy and one guy only, and to that I have a very simple message. Thanks, Brez, you fucking stiff.
Yeah, I mean, if we did anything at the deadline, if you had a legit well, I had a stroke there. If you had a legit pitching acquisition at the trade deadline, then maybe we wouldn't be in this spot. Like,
It's not like the poor defense snuck up on them. They've been an
No.
abomination defensively for years now. It's not just a Breslow problem. It's a problem that dated all the way back to the Heim era. Like this again, this didn't sneak up on them. They've been awful defensively for the last 3+ years.
and what do you have to change to remedy that? Like, I just don't know
Firing
what
every
happens.
Single fielding instructor in the organization.
I guess
like-
so.
Like the guys that get called up are awful defensively too.
I mean, Christian Campbell was horrible.
Campbell doesn't have a home, still doesn't have a home defensively. And they were unwilling to commit to a defensive home to him today. So like, I know the Sox prospect guys keep saying outfield, so I tend to trust them. Like I think they're
Right.
pretty well sourced, and I think that they're very good scouts and understand the system. So I tend to think that Christian Campbell's a left fielder.
And I'm totally okay with that. Like you said, Willier Abreu. I mean, in this series and since he returned from his injury, gave you nothing. And I understand that he was hurt and the timeline was all over the place. Like, we weren't really sure. At first, we thought it was like a week thing. He didn't get placed on the IL for a little bit.
Yeah, they said he wasn't going on the IL. They
Right.
said it was going to be like a day or two and he was going to be fine.
He was out for a month.
Yeah, he missed a month.
And he looked like a shell of himself when he came back. So I can't be too upset with him, but like, this is now a couple times where he's been unavailable in big spots. So,
and he's also still just a platoon bat.
Right. And
like they don't trust him to face lefties. And I know I gave the numbers on Jarren Duran, but like Willier's just as bad against lefties. Like eventually they're gonna have to either figure out the logjam and the imbalance between lefties and righties in the lineup, or these guys are going to have to figure things out against lefties. And just some numbers from Willier since he came back. He played 7 games. He hit 143 with a 372 OPS.
Yeah, not going to do it.
And I'm not going to dog him because of the injury, and obviously like it was way worse than they initially thought, and he rushed back. But like also like then he shouldn't have been back.
No.
Like to me, like, oh, well, it's the presence in the lineup. Yeah, well, that presence in the lineup gave you absolutely nothing. And against lefties, it was a 230 batting average with a 676 OPS this year. So you could even argue that he would have been better served being in the game over Jarren Duran against lefties if he was at full strength. But he didn't have a hit in the wild card series. He went 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts, including one of the, like, I guess this will bring me to my Cam Schlittler point. Cam Shitter was fantastic in Game 3. I want to make that abundantly clear before I tear it apart. This lineup was fucking pathetic. They did not have one competitive at-bat. All he was throwing was fastballs. That's all he threw were fastballs, and plenty of them leaked over the heart of the plate. If this lineup wasn't pathetic, he could have been had. He diced them up. He had a fantastic performance, but people talking about it being like one of the all-time playoff performances aren't living in reality. Like, I saw people posting the Garrett Crochet box score, being like, the fact that this wasn't the most impressive stat line of the entire series. You
give me a
people are
break.
on fucking crack. Like, what are we fucking talking about? Like, there's no way that Garrett Crochet on the road going in and going fucking 7 2/3, 12 strikeouts against a Yankees lineup that I've shit on for a large majority of the season, and I stand by the fact that it's not that good, but it is so much better than the bullshit that the Red Sox trotted out there in Game 3. So yes, Cam Schlittler was fantastic in that game. He diced them up. He absolutely owned not even mediocre, a terrible Red Sox lineup. That lineup was terrible.
It was so bad. And I was trying to find the pitch breakdown here, but it had to be like over 50% fastballs. I just can't find it.
Let me see if I can grab it.
Is it 55? No, this is his career. I don't know how to use this website, bro. I try, but it is.
Where is he? Let me
find him. It's good radio. I apologize.
Yeah, this is fantastic radio. 47% fastball.
There we go. Yeah, so fits my narrative. That's the point. Is yeah, he was pumping 100 for a majority of the game, but at a certain point, we have to catch up to a fastball. If that's all he's giving you, the same.
That's what's coming.
The same thing happened with Peyton Tolley, and everyone caught up to it. And you were like, okay, well, I guess we have to put him in the bullpen because he has no secondaries. Neither did this guy. And he just let him carve you up all game.
Correct, yeah. 26 swings, 11 whiffs on the four-seam, 14 swings, 5 whiffs on the sinker, and 9 swings, 2 whiffs on the cutter. And it was uncompetitive at-bats.
Yeah.
That's if you were to say, summarize the Game 3 for the Red Sox in 2 words, it would be uncompetitive at-bats.
Dude, the most unfortunate part of this was I was at my parents' house for the first 3 innings. I drove home while the horrible inning was unfolding. I was listening to Will Fleming recount it, and I'm like, what is going on? And then they didn't score for the rest of the game when I got home.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to nitpick anything, the defense or anything, because of how pathetic the lineup was. And I'll hit you with a stat here.
Okay.
This has been true for the entire history of baseball.
Oh
In the
boy.
history of baseball, a team has never won a game in which they scored 0 runs.
Correct.
So that is
Makes you
the
think.
story of this game. But quickly, Cam Schlittler might be the biggest loser on the fucking
Oh my
planet.
God, bro.
He is such a fucking dweeb. And I keep seeing people be like, "Oh, people were harassing his mom on Twitter." I have yet to see a single screenshot of any type of
I
harassment
know.
other than the Cutter is King screenshot of her, him offering up the information of, yeah, my family used to be diehard Red Sox fans, and now fuck those guys. They love the Yankees. It's all about the Yanks. Let's go Yanks. And then his mother still has Red Sox in her Twitter bio. That's the only screenshot I've ever seen. He was like, they made it personal. Fuck Boston. You know how aggressive we can get. Newsflash, buddy. It is no longer we. You are no longer we. Oh, I live in Southie in the off-season. Well, go live in Soho. Go live in the Upper East Side. That's all the neighborhoods in New York I know.
The Bronx.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone wants to live in the Bronx in the
No.
off-season. Queens. Go live in Queens. I don't know what that area is like. Enjoy Manhattan. I don't know.
Sure.
Enjoy any of those places.
Hell's Kitchen, isn't that a thing?
Yes, it is. Yeah, Hell's Kitchen. Enjoy Hell's Kitchen. You are no longer we. Like, oh, you know how aggressive we can get. Yeah, no. Nope. You are now disowned. And as far as I'm concerned, fuck Walpole, too. Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, what has Walpole done, man?
Yeah, nothing. Walpole's done nothing for me. They're not like the great folks of Waltham that gave us Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I just drive through Walpole. I don't think I've ever, done anything more than get a cup of coffee there.
Yeah, no. And even then, terrible coffee in Walpole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen enough of Cam Schlittler, and then him getting the Twitter fingers after, like, coming at
Right.
Lucy Burge. Yeah, I'm on to you, Cam Schlittler, coming at Lucy Burge. We all know what you're angling for there. Like, anybody and everybody that was like, oh, the trolls got to my mom, like, she had to go private. Like, and if they were, that's obviously, like, if she actually went private because people were harassing her, that's one thing. But I've yet to see proof of that. So,
Dude, I hope he pitches in this Blue Jays series because I think
the hate watch, that'll get me unretired from baseball that'll be my first game back is the Cam Schlittler hate watch.
But can you imagine a real team facing a guy who just throws 47% fastballs? Like, they're just going to feast on him. It's going to be so funny.
Yeah,
and
it is going to be.
I might be wrong, but I really don't care. So
no, I don't care. Yeah, fuck Cam Schlittler. The only good thing that Cam Schlittler has provided us is a new enemy in a hopeful revival of the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry. Because I hate this guy. This guy just catapulted to my number one most hated pitcher in baseball. And it's, like I said, it's not even because of the performance, because I don't think it was wildly impressive to do that against that lineup. It's entirely based on the fact that he wanted to be like, fuck Boston, fuck those guys, they made it personal. You know how we can get. Again, you, sir, you are no longer we. You are a New Yorker. You are a Yankee, and you, sir, can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, and I think that about ties a bow on this series. I don't know. Did you have anything else?
Kind of just themes throughout the rest of the season. The offense lacks any type of thump at all. Today, Craig Breslow in that end of season presser said a lot of runs scored in the postseason are via the home run, and we didn't hit enough of them. They didn't hit any, or they hit one. Trevor Story. Yeah, Trevor Story hit one home run in the playoffs. He attributed that to the increase in fantastic pitching. Obviously, I mean, no secret there that a lot of the big swings, TM to Steve Peralt, come via home runs in the playoffs. But, like, I wonder why. Wonder where your thump went in your lineup. Through 6/15, they were 9th in home runs, 6th in OPS. From June 16th through the end of the season, they ranked 23rd in home runs and 11th in OPS. If you're wondering why I picked those dates, it's the Rafael Devers trade, obviously.
Yeah, something happened?
So you you remove your in. I was one of the people that thought that you were still a bat short in your lineup going into the season. So then you trade your best hitter, your best non-Roman Anthony hitter. But again, we didn't know that Roman Anthony was going to come up and immediately be a top 10 player in the sport.
Well, you did.
No, I did. Credit to me. Never wrong. But Harrison, May, and Hicks, and Jose Bayo, we'll throw him in there.
Shout him out.
Guess how much they gave you in the playoffs? Guess how many innings they pitched in the playoffs? Guess how many pitches they threw in the playoffs? Zero. None. So they gave your return for your best player gave you absolutely nothing in the playoffs. And then you have the audacity to come up in front of me and be like, oh, well, we didn't have enough thump in the lineup. Yeah, motherfucker, because you got rid of it. Because you traded it, because you sent him out the door, because he hurt your feelings. And now you're sitting here and you go into the offseason where you might lose Alex Bregman, which all signs indicate to him opting out. Everything that's been reported is that he's going to opt out and he's going to test free agency. I just told you that Trevor Story would be dumb to opt out. There's a chance you lose him. So now you're going to go into it. You could potentially be going into an offseason where you not only need 2 impact bats in an awful free agent class, you might need 4.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
There are 3 good hitters in this free agent class: Kyle Schwarber, Pete Alonso, and Kyle Tucker. I don't want Bo Bichette. And that's pretty much it. Obviously, I'm not counting Bregman. So, if you want to count Bregman, you can count Bregman. If you want to count Story, you can count Story. So, there are 5 good hitters in this free agency class, or at least 5 impact hitters. I'll say that. 5 guys that would legitimately make an impact. And to me, the story of this series is that there was nobody in your lineup. When you look up and down this lineup, who's the one guy that you circle as all right, this is the guy? Obviously, the Yankees have it in Judge. The Mariners have several of them in Julio and Cal Raleigh. The Dodgers have an all-star team. The Blue Jays, Vladdy Jr., George Springer's been amazing, and he's a playoff demon. The Cubs, Kyle Tucker. Every team remaining, the Phillies, I don't want to name all the teams. They all have a guy where you can look up and down the lineup and say, this is the guy. The Red Sox didn't have that. They did, and then they traded him. And not only did they have a guy where it was, this is the guy, they had a guy who absolutely owned the team that eliminated you. I just don't, I'm going to, like I said, I will bitch about the Rafael Devers trade until they're putting me in the ground. That'll be my dying breath will be they never should have traded Rafael Devers. And I will continue that. I will continue to say that forever. But when you trot out that lineup, when you trot out Cedon Rafaela in the 5-hole in a winner-go-home game, a guy that you had bunting the night before with first and second and nobody out, you're not going to convince me that this isn't a front office failure to put together this lineup for the playoffs. And, they didn't have Roman Anthony. They didn't have Marcelo Meyer. Yeah, I'm as big of a Marcelo Meyer believer as anybody, but if you think he would have had an impact in this series, he would have been on the bench for the first 2 games.
Not to mention, you put Romy Gonzalez in the cleanup hole in the first 2 games. You just didn't have that guy.
I'm sorry, Rob Refsnyder. Thank you for your service, but you are washed, good sir.
Yeah.
You no longer have it.
It's unfortunate, but I think if they listen to your rule of 1 lefty killer, it has to be Romy Gonzalez. And
yes, absolutely. And I think you can teach him left field. I think you can teach him. So you can make him a serviceable player. And I don't count Nick Sogard as a lefty killer because he's a switch hitter and has the utility. So, to me, as you look forward to the offseason, you get one of the lefty killers. I don't need Nate Eaton. So I think the obvious choice is Romy if you're looking at it from that lens. So, your bench has to be Romy, Nick Sogard, backup catcher, and then pick a guy.
Yeah, it's I just don't understand the thought process. I didn't understand the thought process when they traded him, and you didn't even get a bat back. That's the worst part. I mean, you had James Tibbs, but obviously he's got traded for Dustin May, who also gave you nothing.
And then immediately became good with the Dodgers. Tibbs was really good after the trade.
I mean, Walker Buehler is good with the Phillies now. Yeah. So it's there were a couple of missteps throughout this season. I mean, a lot of missteps throughout this season, but obviously the Devers trade is the worst. But then your trade deadline was horrible too. After Breslow is we're going to
worry.
spend.
Yeah,
Don't
do
worry.
not worry. Help is on the way.
Every chance he got, and I know we've harped on that a bunch of times throughout this podcast, but it's like you could have remedied a little bit of that. You could have, maybe we wouldn't be complaining about it as much if you did get a Eugenio Suarez or a Josh Naylor or both, but you did none of that. And he's also a free agent this offseason. I wonder if they kick the
They
tires
both
on
are.
that.
They
Right.
both are.
So I wonder, I
I
mean,
guess there's more than 3 impact bats. There's 5.
but even still, it's like, I mean, they seem to like Seattle. It depends how far they go, but obviously this is more of an off-season thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, what did you expect, man? Like, you came into this series without Roman Anthony. Your lineup was a shell of itself, especially without Rafael Devers, and you just got beat, man. Like, your own mistakes beat you, and I don't know why Craig Breslow's like, I wonder why we can't hit home runs.
Yeah.
Like, what'd you think was going to happen?
I have a question for you because I have thought about this a decent bit.
Okay.
How much of an impact do you think Roman Anthony makes on this series? I don't think it's a very big one.
No, I mean, if he's leading off, it's like someone still has to knock him in. I don't think he's hitting homers like left and right in this series.
Right. I mean, it's more competitive at bats. I said it earlier. You didn't have a guy that you circled as like the guy you can't let beat you.
Right.
But like Roman's gonna get on base and
no one was hitting him in.
They're just gonna ground into another double play. Like how many double plays did they hit into in this series? Like
too many.
It just wasn't enough, and it goes back to being you were already a bat short. So then you were 2 bats short. It's just like they were failed by the front. This team was failed by the front office, which is unfortunate because they didn't even try. This is something that I talked about so many times in the wake of the Rafael Devers trade. They didn't even attempt to have the first 3 in your lineup be Anthony, Bregman, Devers. They didn't even, winning cures all. I don't believe this, power of friendship theory. I just don't, so many people have said it and everyone just kind of echoed it, the truth. How many guys are on teams that they don't love all their teammates? They don't all have to be best friends. Kurt Schilling is one of the biggest dickheads in baseball. He's a winner though. He was a proven playoff dog. How many guys are black sheep in the clubhouse? And I don't even want to say Devers was that because we can't say that for certain. I'm not in the clubhouse. You're not in the clubhouse. We don't know this. I just don't believe it was they traded Rafael Devers and the power of friendship united them. No, trading Rafael Devers didn't turn Brian Bayo and Lucas Giolito into Jeremy Lin. That didn't spark the Linsanity run of your pitching staff being incredible. That didn't give you the second lowest bullpen ERA in baseball. That didn't magically make Roman Anthony a top 10 hitter in the sport. That didn't do any of those things. All that did was make your team worse.
Way worse.
I refuse to believe it's the power of friendship. You made your team worse because you got your feelings hurt. And that is my take on the Rafael Devers trade, and it has been consistent from the second that they traded him until we're sitting here on October 6th.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to not go back to that Devers trade until we see something else come of it because you have a ton of money this offseason. And I know they directly asked Craig Breslow about it, and he was like, well, I think it's too soon to say. That's basically how he answered everything, and I guess we can get into that now. But it's geez, how long can you just shove the same answer down our throats before we see actual results?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I wasn't expecting him to come out there and be like, we're going to push so hard after Pete Alonso, it's going to make your head
right.
spin.
I didn't need specifics, but it's
first of all, I think it's tampering, so obviously he can't do that.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, for him to come out and be like, we didn't hit enough home runs in the playoffs when you traded Rafael Devers is, that's ludicrous to me. I think that it is bizarre that nobody asked him if he thinks that they won more games than they otherwise would have with Rafael Devers, because like I said, I think the answer to that is abundantly clear that it's no. No, you did not, and you potentially could still be playing. We could be getting ready for Game 3 of the division series right now instead of talking about where things went wrong in this season. But yeah, I don't even know, where do you want to start with the end of season presser? I had a whole lot of notes.
I did have one more quick thing.
Go ahead.
On the series, because you just mentioning that made me think of it. Getting ready for Game 3, potentially of the ALDS. Do you think, I mean, obviously the Yankees are down 0-2. You think the Red Sox would have put up any better of a fight against the Blue Jays if they made it?
Probably not.
Right. So,
But I also, I don't know, like I haven't watched any of the games of that
yeah,
series,
I mean,
so I
fair.
can't say for certain. Like,
But
either
they've
way.
got absolutely bludgeoned in those first 2 games.
Yeah, they've gotten absolutely destroyed. Like, I think this was a Blue Jays team that, I mean, obviously they fell off a little bit towards the end of the season, but how many years in a row has it been the same story for the Toronto Blue Jays in the playoffs and in the regular season? Like, where they get there, they have a great regular season, and then they completely shit their pants in the playoffs. Like, I think this was just a more motivated Blue Jays team. They were convinced that this wasn't going to happen again. I saw a cut today from Vladdy where he got asked that exact question, like, what is the difference between this year's playoff team and last year's? And he said it's an optional workout today and all 26 guys are here.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I like that.
I tend to think that this was a Blue Jays team that was motivated not to repeat the mistakes of the past.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I know, division rival, I guess, but, like, good for them. So, I can't be too upset about it.
My only complaint about the Toronto Blue Jays is that for 3 years in a row, the last, not including this year, so from 21 through 24, I picked the Blue Jays as my AL East division winner, and they just fell flat.
The first year you don't.
Yeah, first year I didn't. I took the Sox, obviously. First year I don't is the one they get it done. So
that's unfortunate.
But yeah.
Oh, yeah, so sorry for the quick aside there. We can get into the presser here. Where do you want to start?
I think the fourth outfield, the log jam, is where we should
just
start.
Astounding.
Yeah, so both Cora and Breslow said that they were comfortable with the 4 outfielders. Cora said he can manage the guys, like it gives him more stuff to play with, but like to me, I wasn't expecting Breslow to be like, yeah, we're going to clear this logjam because it eliminates all of the leverage that they might have in trying to negotiate any type of deal. But I find it incredibly hard to believe that they're going to kick this can. Like the wall is here. I think it was like a month or 2 ago I said that eventually Breslow is going to go to kick this can and he's just going to kick a cement wall like the
Wile E. Coyote.
Yes, yeah. I think we've reached that point, especially with Jarren Duran. Like, I think all in all, Jarren Duran put together one of the worst playoffs I've ever seen from a Boston athlete. Like, between
it was awful.
Like, uncompetitive at bats. Like, one of my friends was like, "Oh, Jarren Duran's gonna hit a home run here." I was like, "He's probably gonna strike out in 3 pitches. Like, that's what's gonna happen." And then anyway, it wasn't even 3 pitches. It was the play he hit into the dugout that McMahon made that play on.
Oh. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I like that. Nobody except for Greg Weissert, I think it was, went to help him. Fuck that guy. Like, you can fall into the dugout, buddy. Which was a ridiculous catch, but yeah, I think Duran, just like I said, I tweeted it. Aaron Judge, Jarren Duran, handshake emoji, Mr. Low Leverage. Like, that's what it was. The lights were brighter than expected. Any meme that you want to put to it for talking about someone who just completely wet their pants in the playoffs, it applied to Jarren Duran there. Like, and I said it wasn't just Duran. I think the scenic route that Rafaela took, the bunt, they all had their faults in this series. Every single one of them. I think Abreu is the one that you give the most leeway to because of the injury. Like, but to me, like I said, walk with me. Christian Campbell in left field, Roman Anthony in center field, and welcome to Boston, King Tuck.
I like that dramatic effect.
With me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm all over it. Do I think it's going to happen?
No.
Not in the slightest.
No, definitely not. They're not going to give $500 million to Kyle Tucker. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
But to your point, like, they've been saying, like, oh, they're going to use the Breslow money, and like, obviously they weren't going to sign any of the marquee free agents in the middle of July. But like, now's the time to do it. Like, you want to say we're going to reallocate this money. Like, it wasn't just to get off the contract. It wasn't just to get rid of a guy that hurt my feelings. It wasn't just that my computer model said that this deal was bad. It's that we're going to go and we're going to find a guy that we're going to replace this production with, because you need to. Like, if you watch this team down the stretch, especially without Roman Anthony, you know that they need this production. It's something that I harped on a lot, that if your lineup hinges on a 21-year-old rookie to be productive, then your lineup isn't that good to begin with. So like yes, it would have been a better lineup with Roman Anthony in it, but what is the ceiling of the team with Roman Anthony in it? It's not the World Series.
No, not at all. Like, you need supplements, and we needed supplements, like you said, even before heading into this season, because Roman Anthony was still a question mark, but now, who knows what happens? Like, this offseason has the potential to be catastrophic. It also has the potential to be pretty solid.
This
I
could
just...
make or break. Like, they're in the contention window.
Right.
Like you said, like it could be catastrophic. And one thing that was encouraging to me in this end of season presser was that Breslow said, like, we cannot get complacent, which is like, not that I was expecting him to say, like, yeah, we made the playoffs, like, we're going to run it back. Like, I obviously wasn't expecting him to say that, but the fact that they at least recognize, like, this is a turning point off season for the Boston Red Sox. Like, we can look at this time next year, hopefully we're still playing baseball right now, but if we're not, if we're sitting here doing this exact same podcast in a year, we're going to be able to point to what happens this offseason as they didn't do enough, or they recognized what they needed to do. The contention window is fully open, and they capitalized on it and said, we're the Boston Red Sox. We have one of the best farm systems in baseball, and we have $300 million that we cleared off our books to now spend. And more. $300 million and more. Because again, you're the Boston Red Sox. Like, this is the offseason to go out and do it. I think you need to get at least 2 big bats. Like,
Yep.
And to me, I want Alonso and Schwarber. I've been pretty vocal about how I don't like Pete Alonso, the player, but there have been plenty of players that I don't like walk through the door that I have swallowed my pride and rooted for.
I would buy his jersey.
Yeah, Aroldis Chapman being chief of them. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many guys. I didn't like Carl Crawford when he was on the Rays, and I came in and I was hyped. I was like 13 or younger. I was like 10.
That one didn't exactly pan out.
10-year-old Zach was hyped about Carl Crawford. Like, there were plenty of guys that I didn't like that I have rooted for. So to me, you need 2 guys. And if it's Schwarber and it's Alonso, it's Schwarber and Alonso. If it's any number of guys, I think we're going to get into, like, all the offseason stuff. But, like, a pipe dream, Ronald Acuna, does he reach an inflection point with the Braves management the same way that Devers did here? To me, I think that would be stupid of the Braves the same way I think it was stupid of the Red Sox to reach an inflection point with your best player. Like, there are any number of avenues they can take, but no matter how they address it, they have a lot of work to do to build this team into a true World Series contender. And when it could be next year, it could be 5 years down the road, but I think this is going to be an offseason where we circle and say, this was the inflection point.
It has to be, because so many things can go wrong this offseason, but so many things can also go right. Like, if you bring in, if you finally pull off a Joe Ryan trade, if you sign one of the, I don't want to say premier starting pitchers, but they're all decent enough where I think I would be okay as any of them as a number 2 starter. Right. So, and he mentioned that too, that they need some more pitching depth because they kind of exhausted everything. I mean, we said even before Giolito went down, like, if they have another injury, they're screwed. And we ultimately saw that. And even though early wasn't really the problem in game 3, it's still, who knows what would have happened if Giolito was out there. But all this to say, I'm weirdly confident. I don't know why, but I'm kind of weirdly confident they spend this offseason.
And Breslow's off-seasons haven't been the problem.
Right.
Like, they just haven't. Like, you go out, you get the Crochet trade done, you get the Narvaez trade done 6 hours later, or whatever it was. I'm not going to give him credit for Alex Bregman because Alex Cora signed Alex Bregman. Whatever. And, like, after the series ended, I was ready for Breslow's head. And I still am. Like, to me, like, Craig Breslow is entering next season on the hottest of seats.
He should be.
You don't get to make a trade like trading your best player and then not have it be a career-defining move. Theo's career was defined by the Nomar trade. It worked out for him. And now he's widely considered the best executive in the history of the game, reversing both the Red Sox and Cubs curses. These moves, these tenures are defined by these moves. Heim. Nobody is going to look at what Heim did and view it as a success because he's always going to be the guy that traded Mookie Betts.
Right.
Like, these are career defining moves. And to me, this is where it's put up or shut up time for Craig Breslow. You said that you're going to spend this money. spend the money. You have a team that is ready to contend. You have a bunch of really great young talent on team-friendly deals, and it's time to supplement that and turn yourself into a World Series contender. Because I think if there's one thing that we learned from this Yankees series, it's that they're a lot further away from being true World Series contenders than any of us thought going into this season.
No doubt. What else did you want to touch on from here? There's a lot of takeaways here. It like me watching it at I think it was like 11 a.m. It just seemed like they gave the same answer kind of over and over again.
Oh, they did. Yeah. I mean, it was the same. It was the same Craig Breslow word salad that you
Exactly.
did. But to me, like I kind of gleaned some information. This one was just funny. Breslow said Massa played some field this year and was good in doing it.
He played like 3 games.
Yeah. And to me, it's just it's the same song and dance that we made fun of before. Like first it was like, oh, he was actually our metrics say that he was better than like what the the public metrics say, or like we don't think he was that bad. And then it was like this guy needs a helmet he needs to be John Olerud in left field. And then it was, yeah, we actually think he can play left field. And like, I mean, he was fine. Like he wasn't noticeably awful in left field in the limited time, but like I don't be like, oh, he was good.
But he only had 3 games out there.
Yeah.
I think all year.
Yeah, that was good. And then there was that play in Chicago where Duran tried to kill him, but I blame Duran for that.
I remember that.
They mentioned that they need more production out of number 2 starter, a first baseman, and a second baseman. I think that's all pretty abundantly clear watching the team, especially at first base. They were non-committal about Tristan Casas's role. Again, like I think that's fair. Like you don't know what he's going to give you. Same thing for Christian Campbell. They were non-committal on his role, but they were like Breslow. I think it was pretty interesting. He was like he has the backing of the entire organization, and we know how good he can be. And I saw people being like, oh, well, the only reason he was on the opening day roster is because he was willing to play ball on a contract. I think that was part of it, but I also pushed back on that theory because we heard from Jeff Passan in the Rafael Devers trade fallout was that his computer model told him that their optimal lineup was Campbell at second base, Bregman at third, and Devers DHing. Like I think what it all comes back to is that Craig Breslow's computer said that Rafael Devers wasn't as good as the contract said, and he was just hell-bent on getting rid of that because his precious little computer told him that it was an underwater deal, which like, I don't know, dude. Like you're the Boston Red Sox and you're paying $30 million a year for a guy that's going to hit 280 with 30 home runs, 100 plus RBIs, and a OPS in the 8 to 900s. Like that seems like a pretty good deal to me. I don't care if he's on the field. Like
neither do I, man.
Number 2 starter, he said like at times Bayo pitched like a number 2, at times Early looked like a number 2. Like we just can't at times Bayo looked like a number 2. I think Brian Bayo is much better suited for the Rick Porcello role.
Yeah, and we can't keep doing this thing where we have a number 2 starter at home. Why do we need to go out and spend?
Maybe this guy can step up. Maybe that guy can step up. I mean, if you point to any number of the great Red Sox teams that have won World Series, they've had 2 absolute horses at the front of their lineup. Most recently, Chris Sale and David Price. And before anybody slanders David Price, he should have won World Series MVP.
Probably.
Like that's a guy, like I'm a David Price truther. Like all these teams have horses at the front of their rotation. You have one. You not only do you have one horse, you have the pig. You have the Clydesdale. You have the prize. You have the prize winner at the Iowa State Fair. Like you have the greatest pig of them all. And they just need to supplement it, whether that be Joe Ryan, whether that be one of the marquee free agents who I've kind of soured on all of them at this point, especially given the contracts that they're going to get. We'll see, but like to me that comes via trade as well, and then you go out and you make the splash with the bat in free agency, which like again it's only a handful of guys that you can pick from, but those 3 positions I thought were interesting that they singled out. Emphasis on pitching depth, you can never have too much of it. Quinn Priester was a deal that I applauded. I loved the Quinn Priester trade, and I still like it. Knowing what I know now, like I don't, does Quinn Priester move the needle in this series? No, he's not. A hitter. He's not hitting his way out of a wet paper bag, and I still think that there's regression coming from him. So to get Marcus Phillips, who it sounded like they were going to take with their first rounder, That's how much they liked Marcus Phillips.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now you get Kyson Witherspoon and Marcus Phillips, who I think both have higher ceilings than Quinn Priester, and Yoferi Rodriguez, who's effectively a lottery ticket. Like, I'd make that Priester deal 10 times out of 10, even knowing what I know now. I think Connolly Early is already better than Quinn Priester.
And I'm not to mention Peyton Tolley, who knows what happens with him, but his upside is, I think, way higher than
The
Quinn
moon.
Priester.
His upside is like Garrett Crochet level upside, I think.
Yeah, you know what's so funny is at the beginning of the year, we were debating between Richard Fitz and Quinn Priester as the number 5 starter, and
And they're both
obviously
not
neither
bad.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So pitching depth, this is one that I have sneakily been wanting to pay attention to. GM search, no timeline, and he mentioned that after losing Paul Taboni to the Nationals, they're gonna kind of take a look at some front office roles and rearrange things. You had mentioned this. I can't remember if we were just yapping or if we were actually recording, but hopefully that doesn't hold up any deals. He said they were
oh,
gonna
right.
assess that in the coming weeks. But something interesting, this came from Red Sox stats a couple days ago when Paul Taboni was announced as the new head of the Nats. Says he said he was going to create a scouting and player development monster, and you win with people. That comes from NBC4 Sports in DC. And then another interesting contrast, Katie Wu, who covers the Cardinals. The Cardinals are looking to expand their pro scouting department. According to multiple team sources, Chaim Bloom is looking to add a position to oversee the department, and they will retain all 7 pro scouts. Obviously, this comes on the heels of the Red Sox firing a whole bunch of their player development and scouting department. So I just don't. I think it's interesting that you have guys leaving this organization and immediately being like, you win with people. We're going to develop this system. Like, and one of the things we heard about the Dave Dombrowski era was that he completely neglected player development and scouting and that stuff. And they went from the highs of Theo Epstein, of Ben Sherrington having one of the most advanced player development departments to Dave Dombrowski, who set them back however many years as everyone else took a step forward. You bring in Chaim, you add all these people again, and obviously you see it in the farm system. Like, who do you think discovered Roman Anthony? Who do you think said, oh, we got this kid at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School? Or we have Christian Campbell, a Georgia Tech. He doesn't really have a position. He's got a really funky swing, and we think we can find something in there with him. These guys don't just grow on trees. Like, this type of talent evaluation doesn't just come out of nowhere. Like, Paul Taboni is right. It is built with people. You win with people. Like, you got your best player because a guy that you potentially could have fired. I don't know who the signing scout was on Roman Anthony, but there's a legitimate chance he's no longer employed by the Boston Red Sox because of these cuts. Like, I just don't understand why people are leaving the organization and immediately being like, we're going to expand the player development process, while the Red Sox did an internal audit and it resulted in firing a bunch of people. Like, that was one thing that stood out to me. It did concern me that they said that they were going to reevaluate the roles, though, because I think one thing that we both agreed on in the last, or whenever we initially talked about this GM search, was that they go external for whoever it may be to avoid
They
that
better,
echo
man.
chamber. Yeah, they have to. So obviously, like, things have to change there. Like, things are going to shake out in the playoff race. Like, you're not going to be able to interview guys until then. But I'm hoping they go external. I'll actually be angry if they don't go external with this hire.
It would be hard to imagine that they won't go external here. Like, how can you not? If you just promote another guy within your or girl in your organization,
And
then
I
what are you
love
talking
Raquel.
about? Yeah,
Raquel.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
nobody
absolutely.
thinks higher of Raquel. The fact that seeing her in there in the champagne celebration was so funny. Nobody speaks higher of Raquel Ferreira than the Red Sox players and people that like actually know her. But again, like she's also a part of the echo chamber. There just needs to be an external voice coming in.
I totally agree, and it's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds throughout the offseason. I hope it's sooner rather than later. Like, what do you think time frame wise? Because the World Series probably ends like right around Halloween. So
Hopefully
how?
right around there.
Yeah,
Like, I think you have to do it before.
It has to be fast.
Hopefully you have this hire nailed down before you get into the meat and potatoes of the offseason. Like,
Right.
before free agency.
Like, that's my biggest thing is you don't want to start behind. because if
No.
you start behind, you're screwed.
Yeah, you're
Like,
fucked. Yeah, you're cooked.
and I know baseball off seasons always take the longest to develop. Like we have signings in December, winter meetings, and then we don't have more until like February. So
I wonder how quickly things are going to move this offseason with the impending lockout
right,
after next season.
it's a good point.
Because like you're not going to see very many like prove it deals. Like you probably aren't going to see the Alex Bregman 3-year deal with opt-outs after every year, because guys are going to be looking to like lock themselves into these paychecks before the lockout comes.
Yeah,
So I think that's going to be an interesting storyline to follow.
and all the more reason to sign a GM ASAP. If these teams are moving fast, you cannot fall behind.
Right. And especially like you need 2 impact bats. To me, the 2 guys are Schwarber and Alonso. But if you don't have like, to me, like those 2 deals would have to be like bang bang. Because if you get Alonso, every single team that you were bidding against
pivot
for him are going to pivot to Schwarber and vice versa. So like you need to like Pete Alonso first base, Kyle Schwarber DH. Like we were talking about how they never and this is all operating. I'm going to continue operating under the assumption that they are not stupid enough to let Alex Bregman walk. Which I guess
would hope not.
Chris Cotillo said that he doesn't think it's a foregone conclusion, that it's not just like a fait accompli that Bregman will be back. Which I thought was interesting. He said it wasn't like sourced or anything. It was just a thought that he had, which is encouraging. But yeah, so I'm operating under the assumption that they're not going to be dumb enough to have traded their best player in favor of Alex Bregman and then have Bregman walk after 1 year. So, I mean, like I said, those will get into the meat and potatoes of the offseason in future episodes. But like, to me, those are the 2 guys. And that's the type of lineup that's actually formidable in the playoffs. Like Roman Anthony, Pete Alonso, Kyle Schwarber, Alex Bregman, Trevor Story, fill in the rest, blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
That's the type of lineup that you can actually look at and say, this is not a team that we want to run into in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts on the off seasons and the off season and my most preferred targets. But obviously we can get into those down the line. Did you have anything else on the press conference from today?
No, I don't think so. I mean, like I said, it was typical Breslow word salad.
Yep.
They didn't really say a whole lot.
That's what pissed me off.
Yeah. Like, I mean, they like I said, I wasn't expecting them to be like, Jaron Duran is gone. He's out of here.
How fun would it have been, though? Like,
it would have been so fun.
Kyle Hudson, he's already gone.
Fired, yeah. Which I guess he did get asked a question about that. And he said that they haven't met to discuss it yet. So,
get on it.
Just because they haven't met to discuss it yet, I don't think that means that everybody's safe.
No, not at all. I mean, not everyone should be safe.
Yeah, no, I agree. To me, Fatsy should be on the hot seat. Hudson should be on the hot seat. And, like, honestly, if we're being completely real with each other, I think Jose David Flores should be on the hot seat. Not because of his work as the first base coach, because I, like, ultimately don't think that they do too much, but he's the fielding instructor.
And it's been bad for a long time.
Hudson is the outfield instructor.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The outfield instructor?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so to me, like, I think we could see some wholesale changes coming in. I don't think it's Ramon Vasquez. I don't think it's Bailey.
No.
So I think we could see those 3 guys. Which, quick note, apparently Manny is looking for an MLB hitting coach job.
Yes.
That's what we need.
That would
Just
really...
That would not for anything else.
And Scherzies. Vibes and Scherzies. Because if you're going to tell me we're bringing Manny Ramirez back as our hitting coach, how can you not also tell me that Manny Ramirez jerseys are available in the Red Sox team store?
They'll fire back up the jerseys, I bet.
They better. I mean, he's kind of had an interesting relationship with the Red Sox since he left, and obviously it wasn't a great breakup there, but enough time has passed. I don't care. Bring him back.
He also is the author of one of the most incredible quotes of all time, which can only be heard by internally of the EEI producers and on-air hosts of when you don't feel good and you still hit home run, that's how you know you a bad man in the closed circuit countdown.
That is electric.
One of the greatest quotes of all time. So shout out Manny for that, if nothing else.
Shout out Manny. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'm really excited for a lot of the content that we have cooking up for
Me too.
for the off season. We have a lot on the docket. Shameless plug. I already gave you the Discord. We're going to put that in the description of the pod and on the YouTube. Check out the YouTube, just at Enter and Kenmore. We're going to have a lot of new content coming out there, YouTube exclusive content. We have a lot of things in the works. I feel like a lot of the time throughout the season, we would be talking, we'd be in the lab cooking, and discussing all these ideas, bouncing stuff off each other, and then it ultimately just got lost in the shuffle of the season and work and life in general. So this should be a good off season to really grow the Entering Kenmore brand, and I'm pretty excited about it.
No doubt. Couldn't have said it better myself. And I also just think there's a lot more time on our hands without baseball every single day for the span of like 6 months. So I don't want to say I'm relieved that the Red Sox season is over, but I didn't expect them to win the World Series. And I kind of don't miss watching the 2025 iteration of them for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I feel kind of similarly to that. Once they traded Rafael Devers, like when Cora clarified, like, nobody thought we were going to make the playoffs after we traded Rafi. I was nobody. That was me. He was talking about me. I didn't even expect them to make the playoffs. The fact that they did, obviously, you saw my text. I wanted heads to roll on Thursday night after they were eliminated. And like I said, I'm not really at the point where I think Breslow should be fired, partially because of the optics, partially because the offseason was good. Everything else was bad from that point on. But I do think that this is the time where we're entering the contention window. So it's time to put up or shut up. So I miss having the team on. But like I said, I found myself on Friday way less angry and upset than I was expecting to, because ultimately, like I said, I wasn't expecting a World Series run anymore.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Like, I thought I was going to wake up and be like fuming, mad at the world that the Red Sox were eliminated. And honestly, I think Yankee fans doing cartwheels around it when you beat basically a quad A team is more embarrassing than losing the series.
Dude, that was the first time the Yankees have eliminated the Red Sox since 2003.
I know.
I was 4 years old.
Dude, I was 1. That's insane.
Unbelievable.
Oh, God.
4 years old. You guys can have that. Congratulations. You guys beat a really bad Red Sox lineup to eliminate them for the first time in 22 years in the playoffs. Yep. Congratulations. Hang the banner. Banner number 28 for the Yankees. Beat the Boston Red Sox in the wild card round.
And I imagine by the time we record the next episode, the Yankees will also be in Cancun.
Yeah.
So enjoy it.
Will be in line at Capo by the time we're recording this next podcast.
Yeah, I'm so glad that Yankee fans got this next round to absolutely get destroyed by the Toronto Blue Jays, and that series could end as soon as tomorrow. So I will be hate watching. I will be tuning in. And as always, thanks so much for listening. We'll check in with you guys again next time.